Hey there, it's Shannon. Welcome to Goodnight, a podcast where I say goodnight to people who have no one to say goodnight to. How was your day? This morning I got to snuggle my 3 youngest kids. 8 is 8 and 7 Zeke are 6, so they still like to snuggle in the mornings, and the timing doesn't always work out for us to be able to do that, but today it did, and I loved it, and it was so good for my heart. This is all soft and gooey, but tonight's episode is a little bit tougher because it's called Resiliency. So I want to start out with a quote from the book I'm reading, or rereading right now, called The Magic of Thinking Big. So let me grab the book here. Okay. This is quoted from The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. J. Schwartz, page 236. And just for a teensy bit of context, Dr. Schwartz is comparing a man on Skid Row versus a man living a mediocre life versus a man who is a success, and the difference between how the three think about failure. Okay. Quoting here. It is possible to match every Mr. Skid Row with a Mr. Mediocre and a Mr. Success on every score. Age, intelligence, background, nationality, you name it, with one exception. The one thing you can't match them on is their response to defeat. When the fellow we call Mr. Skid Row got knocked down, he failed to get up again. He just lay there, splattered out. Mr. Mediocre got up to his knees, but crawled away, and when out of sight, ran in the opposite direction so he'd be sure never to take a beating again. But Mr. Success reacted differently. When he got knocked down, he bounced up, learned a lesson, forgot the beating, and moved upward. End of quote. I love that story to begin talking about resiliency with you, because you do not have to be anyone special to become resilient. So let's talk about it a little bit more. Well, the definition of resiliency is, I got 2 of them here for you, is being capable of returning to an original shape or position as after having been compressed or stressed. The second one is being able to recover readily as from misfortune. The synonym of resiliency is flexibility. And there's different ways for you to be resilient. There's being emotionally resilient, financially resilient, psychologically resilient, physically, relationally, spiritually. I mean, in so many areas of your life, this concept of resiliency can show up, and it protects you, because certainly life happens. Everyone takes a bite of the crap sandwich, as Grandma Donna would say. And we're all going to face hard times. That's part of being alive. So how are we going to deal with it? Is it going to make us fall apart, or are we going to learn from it and move on, like Mr. Success in that example from The Magic of Thinking Big? An example from my life in resiliency, as I was thinking about this episode, was when I went to Aquinas. I went there thinking I was going to be a doctor, and that first semester of pre-med, I got a B in intro biology and a C in intro chemistry. And I went to every class, I took all the notes, I went to every lab, I did every homework assignment, I studied, I did not party, I did my very, very best, and it still fell short. And I was used to getting all A's in high school. So it was just a matter of I did my best and it didn't work. So what do I do now? So I had to rethink what to do. I knew if I continued in pre-med, I was going to lose my scholarship, because it required I want to say a 3.2 GPA. And with that B and C, I was at risk of losing my scholarship. So I had to rethink what I was going to do there at Aquinas still. Thought about teaching. My dad advised against that. He was working as a janitor in my old elementary school at that time, and he was like, Shannon, the school system isn't the same as when you went here. You are too sweet. It will break your heart. I don't suggest you go into teaching. And I mean, he knows me. I believed him. So I went and looked through the course catalog. I'm like, what could I do? And I came across business administration and communication. I switched my major to those classes and I got all A's. And I like graduated with honors in 3.5 years. I absolutely loved it. I took 18 credits every semester. I was just thrilled. I loved my classes. I loved my professors. I loved what I was learning. It just sparked joy and creativity in me. So clearly that was a better path forward for me. But that first semester falling on my face, which it was embarrassing, but I just knew I was just in the wrong lane. It wasn't that I'm a failure, I was just in the wrong lane. And I'm so proud of myself for not quitting college just because I got the worst grades of my life in my first semester away at school trying to figure myself out, and being independent. I'm really glad that I did not quit. I'm very, very thank you self on that one. I think being resilient, not only, like I'm telling you that example, but now I want to tell you about, I think the trick to being resilient is reframing. It's reframing a negative event in a more positive light. This podcast is existing, the whole darn thing, the Goodnight podcast is existing because I'm like literally every episode reframing things that happened to me, and I'm trying to share them with you in a positive light. And here's what I learned. Here's how I became more resilient. Here is how I failed. And isn't it funny? You are walking this journey with me, and I'm literally doing it out loud with you every evening. And maybe if old Gary from the business newspaper had not told me that I'd be a terrible life coach when I was 21, like maybe he's doing me a favor. Do you know, like I'm reframing that story now. My 96-year-old landlord told me this. She's like, Shannon, maybe he probably did you a big favor by telling you that when you were 21, because you have so much more to give now that you're 45. Like you have so much more life experience and, tries and fails and swings and misses and successes, and you've been through it and you know how to get through things now. You probably have a lot more to offer now than you did when you were 21. So that's very, very helpful. Another thing about becoming resilient, if like, for example, you have no sense of resiliency at all, like you just like fail and crumble and fall apart when you fail at something, or it doesn't turn out how you expected it. One little thing when I've been trying to rebuild my resiliency is having some goals, little goals that you accomplish. And once you set goals and you like know that you can do it and you achieve them, it really helps in building your confidence back of I can handle it. Look, I did this thing and it was hard, but I did it. And that builds that little resiliency muscle, like working out, right? Like you have to stretch your muscles or your body out a little bit to gain muscle or become, have better endurance. And the same thing goes with building resilience through goal setting. And then if you fail, like what did I figure out? A little goal that I had when, after I had Ada, was paying off a lot of credit card debt. And I just made this little goal that I want to pay off this, and what do I have to do? And once I did it, I was like, wow, Joe helped. Joe helped. But building that resiliency of like, I did this hard thing and it took me 7 months, but like I focused on it and I thought about it every day, and every day I just did a little bit, and that really gained my confidence, because we had a bunch of credit card debt after building that garage house on the junkyard, and to finish that, and it was really stressing me out that credit card debt was going to get out of control. And but once we got that under control, it was a huge accomplishment to me, because I thought I was being very irresponsible. We were being irresponsible by having to finish that garage house by putting it on a credit card. So it built my resiliency. Like, okay, we have to make a compromise like this, but we can get out of it. Like, we can figure our way out of it and be focused. So that was very, very a good way of building resilience, by having a little goal. So I am rambling, and if you're still here, God bless you. Lessons from resiliency. Resiliency is like the school of hard knocks. And while that sounds fairly terrible and like no one wants to enroll, there's something I really, really like about the school of hard knocks. There's no barriers to entry. There's no gatekeepers. You take what you want to take from the school of hard knocks and learn what you can learn. There are no rules about how much you have to learn or don't have to learn. And you don't need anyone's permission. And no one can take it from you. Like, once you have learned a lesson from the school of hard knocks, it's yours forever. Like, you can count on it. That's something solid in you that you can always look back to and say, I did that. I went through that hard thing and I came out better. And you get to decide how deeply you take in the lessons of the school of hard knocks. And I'm going to just give you a measure to know if your time was well spent in the school of hard knocks and if you actually gained resiliency. I'm going to give you like 2 measures, okay? The first measure, if after the hard lessons in the school of hard knocks make you wiser, more humble, sweeter, and you have a better sense of humor, then you learned the lesson. You are more resilient in the best way possible, and you will be a better human being. Okay? If you were bitter, less in control of your emotions, more confused about who you are, if you have a lot of regrets, you're resentful, and you're hard-hearted, then that was a waste of your time because you didn't get the lesson and you are not more resilient. In fact, how you conducted yourself through that hard lesson has made you more vulnerable. And so that's the first measure of, are you more resilient after going through a hard time? The second one is similar but more concise. Are you more frail, or are you stronger? If you've gone through this hard time and it broke you to the point of now everyone has to walk on eggshells around you, and you cannot take a joke, and you are mad as a buck all the time, triggered all the time, you can't handle life, then you are not more resilient. In fact, you are more frail and you are weaker. But if you come through it, and the resilience is like having a bigger muscle, right? Like, you're stronger, you can handle more, you can handle more with ease. Things don't wear you out or frustrate you as easily as they used to. That's the second measure of, was that hard lesson through the school of hard knocks a success or a fail? We all want to look back on difficult times in our life and say, I walked through that with strength and dignity. I'm proud of the way I conducted myself. I'm more resilient now in the best way possible. It doesn't mean closing off your heart and now you are an island and you don't need anybody and you're hyper independent and you're a real pill. That is not being more resilient. That is you shutting down more and being scared of life. So I have talked for 10 years, and I'm sorry you've lost a decade of your life to me rambling about resiliency, but it's important. So we better pray. Here we go. Lord, thank you for inviting us to be resilient, and thank you for strengthening us. It reminds me of Joshua 1:9, where you say, have I not commanded you? Be strong, vigorous, and very courageous. Be not afraid, neither be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Lord, trusting you helps us to be resilient, which feels like being wise and cooperative and having faith in you. Lord, help us all to do that now, no matter what any of us are going through. We need your help and guidance. Please watch over everyone tonight as they sleep and guard them as they dream, because you love them and you are with them. And I pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, it's that time. Sweet dreams. Good night.